Hey everyone. So I took some time off because I wanted to be very concise on my feedback for Mod 16, the Undermountain. And it basically boils down to this for me. I believe that there's no future progression left in the game. Um, and here's the reason why. It has a lot to do with the new damage formula. So, this is the future of Neverwinter, as I see it. A new mod drops, right? Everybody is very, very excited. The developers, in developing the new mod, approach it this way. What will we be giving players for this new mod? Well, we'll be giving them approximately 3,000 points worth of stats, or 6,000, whatever number you want to use. It really doesn't matter, because in this rework of all the damage, all the systems, everything basically boils down to stats rating now. They've made a big push to give stat rating and counter stat rating. Boons now are basically raw stats with your basically end boon that you can only choose one of is a 30-second proc. Not that big a deal. Everything really boils down to just raw statistical values. But to get back to my point, the future Neverwinter, it will be this. New mod, you get 6,000 points worth of stats. New mod, what will we also be giving enemies? Well, we'll be giving them 6,000 points worth of counter stats. You know what your net gain is? Your net gain in strength? 0. It's approximately going to be 0. And the joke is, you're going to grind a month or two behind time-gated content just to match what the monsters gained on day one of the new mod. And that's the real problem. And I know, if you're not on game yet, this won't affect you that much. But as somebody who's been playing the game for over 2-3 years and hopes to do so more in the future, this is the biggest issue I see facing Neverwinter. And it's not just an issue of looking forward, because you might say, well, I got, 3,000, 6,000 points worth of stats. Maybe those will help me, in older content. Not really, because they've been working on the downscaling formula for years now. They first tested it out in the pre-level 70 dungeons. Then they worked on it more with the K-Team Challenge. And now it's been revamped again for the new module release. Because now that we're level 80, it basically gives them an excuse to downscale all the level 70 dungeons. And they didn't really have to raise the level cap, to 80 to give us new powers. They're trying to say, well, level 80 allowed us to give new powers, new dailies. This is exciting stuff. The reality is every single one of these things, icons you're seeing there, is basically a new power. The level cap didn't have to raise. They fundamentally changed everything. The fact that there's one extra thrown on there doesn't really add much, and they could have done it anyways. Again, the level 80 cap being raised is really just an excuse to downscale you in old content. So you have a situation where if you play new content, any gains that your character makes from acquiring new gear are basically just matched in enemy strength now and negated. And then when you go backwards, you can continually be downscaled to an ideal power level, so your gains aren't realized there, and your net progression seems to be 0. And I cannot understand it for the life of me why they've chosen this direction. You have a game which is an MMORPG based on D&D lore. The core strengths of MMORPGs are people identifying with their character, progressing their character. This is why they pour hours and hours, hundreds of hours, into these types of games. You have a game based on D&D lore. The core strength of D&D lore is character progression. That's why they play these month-long campaigns in tabletop. And you seem to be sacrificing all of this in Mod 16 and in the future Neverwinter for the sake of making it easy to balance. Other content creators have said, that they've made the game so easy to balance that one dev can do it. And it's entirely true, because it's as simple as, okay, every new module, we will be giving players, you know, X amount of stats, and we're also going to be giving monsters X amount of stats. And it's perfectly balanced, again, because your net gain in power is 0, so nothing changes. Now it's going to feel different because they reworked everything. So it's going to have a novelty factor, it's going to feel new, and there will still be swings and balances, don't get me wrong, because right now, as things stand on preview, all these powers and all these classes are very unbalanced against each other. And they have so many massive issues going on with artifacts, with companions, that the game's almost unplayable because you have to set your own rules. Okay, don't do X, Y, and Z to throw off the results and, you know, throw off the run. So they've got so many issues to fix now that they're not going to achieve class balance, something they've been trying to do for years and failed to overnight. So don't get me wrong, things will feel different for a while, but I'll give it to them. Eventually they will get class balance, and once they do, it's going to be as easy as just giving the same amount of stats to players and monsters to maintain that balance. And there's going to be no progression. And I don't know if that's a fun game. And here's the thing, they seem to realize this. You know, this seems to be a trade-off they intentionally pursued. And their stated goal was to be able to create more fun dungeon experiences. And that's going to be the saving grace for Neverwinter if they can pull it off, in my opinion. So they've self-admitted that a lot of what they've done in the past with dungeons is just putting in cheap one-shot mechanics to basically make you waste scrolls to make your party fail. And this has been going on for years, right? Storm King's Thunder, right? Droofy, a boss that virtually nobody fights because it's been glitched for years itself. But the whole idea behind the last boss fight is, you know, if your allies use AoE powers and destroy the ice, well, you're going to die and you're going to waste scrolls. And the blast conveniently spreads the whole team out, so usually it costs you multiple scrolls. You know, then we went over to Cloaked Ascendancy, you know, the last boss there. Well, if a teammate runs by you, you know, you're going to get the creeping death stacks, disease, whatever you want to call it, and you're going to die because, you know, the boss may or may not stun you in time. You know, these aren't fun dungeon mechanics. They're just cheap one-shot things. A lot of times they're out of your control, that it's something your teammate's doing that's killing you. Same with Castle Ravenloft, right? Your teammate failed to stop to attack in time, or they didn't listen to the audio cue, they didn't care. So you personally died, and it cost you scrolls, resources, trade bars, AD, whatever you're spending to get those scrolls, right? Same things with Jungles of Chult, right? Like, the ghost hands didn't appear, they didn't make the noise, the face didn't pop up, you know, so you didn't see it in time and you fall off and your party struggles and they've got to waste more. Or you've got to decide, okay, are these 10 people actually going to stay on a platform? Do I trust them before we even walk in a dungeon? You know, I've got trust issues with my party because are they going to stay on or are they going to fall off and I'm going to have to struggle, you know, fighting the boss alone or without buffs. Dungeons haven't been that fun, honestly. You know, most of it's been just a grind to get raw resources at the end of the chest. And that's the trade-off that they're trying to bring. They're trying to rework power level and strength, saying, okay, we're going to stop putting these one-shot mechanics in, and we're going to provide you with a truly fun and unique experience, which can be worthwhile. It can make Neverwinter worthwhile to play if they pull it off. But you got to realize it's a timing issue, right? I have to wait a year or so for him to get a handful of these new fun dungeons into the game so that I can play them and experience them and enjoy them. And I have to trust them to make good on that promise. And that's the biggest issue, again, for me with Neverwinter. It's mostly the stat rework. There's no unique builds, right? You know, they've been saying that they want to kind of make choices not matter. Because they've been saying, here's the problem. When somebody makes a choice, like in this feat tree, they've been saying they don't want people to feel bad for picking the wrong choice. So they want to make the choices equivalent. And when you make the choices equivalent, there's really no choice at all, because what you choose is irrelevant. You know, the whole boon rework, again, is just, these are all raw stats. You can see here, I don't even have all the new boons, and I've basically picked everything. And then you've got your 30-second procs up here. You know, everything is broken down into statistical values that they can easily just add to monsters to make any net gains that they give you in gear meaningless. You know, they can make you grind just to maintain your power level. And again, they've been working on their downscaling for years. And it really, to me, causes an identity crisis in Neverwinter. Because the core strength of Neverwinter, in my opinion, should be character development and identifying with your character. They seem to be moving away from this and be going into making it more storyline based, more experience in a dungeon based, which is fine, but I think leaving and sacrificing character development is a huge error, and I am looking for feedback, and so are they, on how this can be fixed, because in the current states with the current formulas, I don't see it being fixed, and I think, you know, another rework might have to happen, or something major will have to happen in the future. Anyways, those are my thoughts. I'm interested in what you are. Like I said, I do care about this game. I want it to succeed in the future. And this is a problem for the future, like I said, because things will feel different because they're new. Things will still swing back and forth for a while because they still need to do class balance on top of all the other bugs they have to fix. But it's a problem for the future, and you know, I think it's severe enough that it definitely needs to be addressed. So thank you for watching.